Hello, Black women. Today we are talking about desire, specifically how to distinguish authentic desire, what you really want, from conditioning, okay? What you were told you were supposed to want, and how that factors into creating a life that reflects you and that you love. I think a lot of us are trained to want certain things, go toward certain things because they're socially acceptable and they're safe. And we are told that we have to live a life that makes other people proud of us. Um, that life often turns into, at least for me, it turned into a life of duty and obligation and correctness, acceptability. We were even just talking about that before we jumped on, about how I kind of was raised in this like way of acceptability, right? But what if the thing that you were chasing your entire life had literally nothing to do with what you actually wanted? Okay. Hello? Okay. So today's conversation is an invitation to pause, which is always the first step in healing for me. A pause, a sabbatical, a stop. And then to just ask yourself to notice, am I telling myself the truth about what I actually want? Like, do I even want that? Welcome, Black women. It's time for Find Your Light Live. I'm Roshini. I'm a certified life coach. I'm a content creator and I'm a Black woman healing. I help Black women create lives that they love while I am doing the same. If that sounds good to you, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. I'm also live on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, hit the like button. Okay. This conversation is for Black women who want what they want in their life. They are reclaiming or sometimes discovering their wants for the first time, and they are aligning with their divine direction. Let's talk about it. Today I have a guest, a beautiful, beautiful guest who I think I like summoned. I think I summoned you out of the ether. Okay. I want you to introduce yourself. Go ahead and introduce yourself. And then I'm going to tell people how I like called you in.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elle, and I'm an ease mentor for ambitious women who have goals, have dreams, have ambitions. And I'm glad we're getting into this conversation today because sometimes these are dreams and ambitions that they come from their own soul, but sometimes this is deeply conditioned, ingrained ambitions that they don't actually want for themselves. And so I help women reconnect with what they actually want, who they actually are, and live and create their lives from a place of ease instead of exhaustion and overwork and overwhelm. And I'm also known as the Empress of Ease around these YouTube streets and off in the real world. So thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm excited too. Okay. So let me tell you how I like summoned you in. Okay. I saw Elle on Stephanie Perry's channel earlier this year. It was May because it was my birthday weekend, because I remember I watched it and I was at a hotel, or I went to a hotel right afterward. I remember that. And I looked and I thought, oh my God, I love her. Like, I was like, whatever she's putting down, I'm picking it up, skipped my butt right over to your channel and was like, subscribe. And, I've just been like enjoying your content, enjoying your flow, enjoying your vibe, enjoying your message, the whole thing. Elle slides, it's such a full circle thing. Elle slides into my inbox and literally did the same thing that I did to Stephanie like 2 or 3 years ago. Hi, my name is so and so. I would love to get to know, be on. Would you like to collab? And I wrote her back basically what Stephanie wrote me back, which was like, girl, I know who you are. Matter of fact, I already pre-like you. So here we, yeah. So that's why I'm so happy that we could sit down and talk. And when we get to talking, we get to talking. So I think it's going to be a good talk today. I put on the thumbnail, unlearn should, right? Yes. And I think that that is the perfect way to go into a conversation about what you want, because I think so many Black women, who is who I'm talking to, we live lives of obligation and duty, right? So I wanted to talk with you, Elle, today about authentic desire, distinguishing what you actually want versus like what life has told you you were supposed to want, and like why that's so important if you're creating a life that you love. So I wrote down some questions so I don't forget. First, I want you to just start with your story. I want you to tell everyone a little bit about you, what your background is, and also what you were told to want. Like, what did your family, your culture, your upbringing tell you that your life was supposed to be like?
Woo, this is such a juicy and complicated question. And thank you for starting out with this. And again, thank you for having me, because I feel like these are things that we don't talk about. and we just feel like they're normalized, and we take them for granted, but it's not normalized. So I grew up in Seattle, Washington, very proud, born and raised Black Seattleite, which we were talking about before we started recording. I love being from Seattle. And due to gentrification, the Seattle that I grew up in no longer exists, but I love being I love growing up in the city that I grew up in. And I consider myself a Black excellence defector. So I come from multi-generational, traditional Black excellence. So both of my parents, my grandparents, and my great-grandparents all have undergraduate and graduate degrees.
Every time you say that, I am astonished. I've never met anybody with that much lineage in higher education. I mean, I have some, but I don't have that. I'm like, that's amazing.
It's amazing. And that's why I say it's complicated, right? Like my great-grandfather was born 2 years after enslavement ended and had 2 undergraduate degrees and 2 master's degrees. And one of those was from Cornell University. So I'm not saying like, forget it, it doesn't matter, right? Because all the sacrifices, all the commitments, every single thing that all of my ancestors have done enabled me to be in a place where I can be audacious and bold enough to be like, I'm a Black excellence defector, right? He was considered part of the talented 10th, right? Like that very specific group of Black, mostly men who were like, we are bringing the race forward. So I understand and appreciate and deeply value their commitment and their devotion. And I went rogue because of the very topic that we're talking about. I'm like, I don't want none of this. I don't want none of this, right? Like, what do I want for myself? And I also, part of that is, which I'm very grateful for, is I also come from a family of travelers. So my grandmother, and I think this was in the 70s because this is before I was born, my grandmother and my uncle, her oldest son, who was also disabled, were in Asia, in China, not for the military, not for any, they just wanted to travel. They just wanted to go explore the world. My mother and my father were in Ghana, again, before I was born in the 70s. So I come from people who are curious and adventurous and open-minded, but also have a narrative about, we have done this, and it's your duty as a Black person to continue that, right? You are supposed to make it even better by following very traditional paths. And I did. So I went to Spelman after high school. I went straight into Spelman, and I did not want to. I wanted to take a year off to travel because that's where my joy is. And I forgot though, because all of my classmates, all of my peers, my boyfriend at the time, we were all caught up in this Black excellence, now what I call Black excellence ladder to nowhere. But we were on this momentum trajectory. So most of us went down to the Atlanta University Center. I went to Spelman. My boyfriend went to Morehouse. Some of us went to Clark. And then I hit rock bottom after my first year. I was like, I hate this. I don't want to be in school. I want to travel. And I went back and I told my mother that. And she was like, I don't know what that means. We don't do that in this family. And so I went right on back to school, and I could not get out of bed. There was a point when I could not function.
And this was after freshman year. So this was sophomore year.
This is sophomore year. And this same boyfriend who I'd been with since high school, I couldn't function so much that he would come and pick me up in my apartment, take me to school, pick me up, take me home, pick me up, take me to work, take me home. Like I couldn't function. And then finally I went home at the end of this year, and I was like, I don't care what we do in this family. I'm taking a leave of absence. And that was the first time that I started to choose myself very deliberately, where I was really like, because I come from a family of travelers and curious people and entrepreneurs, like I didn't have these kind of like, you have to get a good government job, narrow pathway. They're like, do your thing. But when I was like, I'm taking time off from school, that was the unheard of. But I had to, because I had gone too far.
Okay, you just said so many good things. The first thought I had while you were talking was, how early were you aware that you were being trained away from your authentic desires? Like you said, I didn't want to go to school before the freshman year. Does that mean that in this messaging, descended from the talented 10th, like descended from people whose entire messaging of like the legacy is, we further the race, basically?
Yeah.
You were kind of a child thinking, I don't know if I want this, but I'm just going along with it?
Well, kind of in a sense, but I always say, they talk about the golden handcuffs. I call it a golden cage, but
Yeah.
my cage is big, right? So because my family are travelers, that wasn't the thing that shook it up. So it wasn't, so I went to a kind of pretty hoity-toity private school for middle school and part of high school. And I applied to go, my fifth grade class, they had, the middle school was having an opportunity to go to Russia. This was in
Mhm.
the late 80s, early 90s. And I applied. I did not get accepted to the Russia program. So then, but my eighth grade class went to France. My eighth grade French class went to France. I applied for that and I did go. This was totally supportive, right? I was supported. My family wanted me to go. They were very enthusiastic. I went again to France junior year, the summer of my junior year. So this wasn't me being like a rebel. This was like very enthusiastic. It was
Mhm.
just when it was outside of school that it was different. So I had always done things that were considered by my peers and even my mother's peers different, but not by my family. So that wasn't what rocked the boat. It was just when I wanted to take time off that I got the side eye.
When you told your family after your sophomore year that I don't care what we do, I'm doing I'm sorry, is that too much of a
No, that's exactly right. That's what I said.
I'm
That's
like, let's not cut to the chase. Okay. I'm like, that's what she had said. She said, I don't care what y'all say I'm about to do. I'm not gonna have this man picking me up and taking me to class. Like,
I want
okay,
to go to India. That's what I
exactly. I want to go
said.
somewhere else. When you told them that, what happened within your family dynamic? And what happened with you? Like what was happening in tandem for choosing yourself and being willing to explore what you actually wanted? And how did you figure that out? That's what I wanted. Like how did you get to I don't want to do school. I want to go.
Well, the first part of when I realized that was when I was because I was doing what I was supposed to do, right? So I'm like, the messaging was, well, study the things that you want to be doing in the world, essentially, right? So I was
Don't do them. Study
study
them.
them, right? So I'm taking the French classes, I'm taking the cultural classes, I'm learning about cultures. And I was sitting in the class, I remember exactly where I was, and I was so bored, not because the class wasn't, I was just like, I don't want to learn about people in a book. I want to experience people in the world. I don't want to study cultures. I want to be with cultures. And I think that was my aha moment. So that was part of it. The other part was I'm a self like, if I want help, I'm gonna ask for help. I'm not afraid of asking for help. So I went to the counselor's office and I had one session with the counselor and the therapist, the school therapist, and I was like so depressed, so miserable. I can't get out of bed. I can't function. And she said to me verbatim, I will never forget, you are acting like a spoiled child who's not getting her way. And I'm like, you're a therapist.
I thought you were gonna say something entirely different.
No, she said, you are acting like a spoiled child who is not getting her way. And I'm like, this doesn't sound right. This doesn't sound like mental health support. So I'm obviously not in the right environment to get what I need to be well. Like this is not it. So that was my kind of like last straw. I did what y'all told me to do. I went to the classes, I was studying the things, I went to get mental health support, and this is not supportive. And that's when I was like, this isn't for me. I'm going to do it. Now I'm going to do it my way. I did it your way. Now I'm going to do it my way.
You called it did you say Black excellence escalator? What did you call it?
Black excellence ladder to nowhere.
Ladder to nowhere. I call it the conveyor belt. Right? Same concept.
Yep.
So my story is not exactly the same, but has some of those components, right? I was born and raised in the Virgin Islands, and my mom come on, Purple Sparkle. You better coordinate. Sorry, I got distracted. And my mom is very much Black excellence, right? Just to like quickly say the things. And so and she was, because my dad passed away, married to a creative, an artist, a
Mhm.
musician, right? A person who worked in hospitality, traveled before he settled down with his kids. You know, we'd hear all these stories about him working at Martha's Vineyard, all this, and working on a boat and playing in a band and all these things, right? And he used to had like there was old newspapers with him modeling. He was all over the place. The man was all over the place doing life, and he got married to a very like you get a job, you work a job, you whatever, and then they gave birth to two children, both of whom are artists and creatives,
Okay.
but both of whom were basically put on the conveyor belt for the opposite version of it. I complied. My sibling did not. My sibling crashed out early. He's still crashing out. Okay. I'm not going to tell the man's story, but he was like, bump what you heard. I'm not doing it. I, on the other hand, kind of went like, well, these people love me. They know what they're doing, right? I mean, I guess this is what you do to make life happy. And as we can probably tell, that didn't work. Okay. Because I didn't want none of that. So I spent my entire childhood like towing the line between being allowed to be creative within like confines. You know, I painted and I took art classes outside of school and I took dance classes. Like I had a rich enough creative life, but when it came time to go away, like I was in pageants and I was doing all the little things I wanted to do. I was like pushing the envelope and like sneaking them in. When it came time to go away to college, the message I got verbatim was basically, that's cute. That's over. Now let's do the real thing. And listen, that's come up in therapy a lot. That particular point of choice where it was like everything that was my authentic me stopped, it felt like, and I went away to Carnegie Mellon, right? Got into a bunch of schools, applied to a bunch of schools, thought I was didn't even want to really go, just did it because that's what you do. Thought I was going to get weeded out in the process, got into every single one of them suckers. That didn't help. Then just chose, girl, I applied to like 14, 15. I was just applying. That was back then when the mail would come in and they'd be like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just applying like a happy little pig in poo and thinking they were going to reject me, got into every single one of those schools and just basically chose one. Happened to choose a really good school. Like Carnegie Mellon is amazing, right? Went there in the business school, spent a ridiculous amount of time hanging out in the fine arts department with my friends, right? And sneaking in things that were like communications, you know, and like little things. And basically the dream deferred. Okay, like Langston said, I shriveled up like a raisin in the sun. So my depressive episode started in college, but I was still able to power through faking the funk, basically. You know, I even like I wanted to lock my hair in college. And my mom said, and I quote, and come home to whose house? So I did not lock my hair because she was paying for it. She was paying for school. I waited till I graduated, cut it all off, and then right, like so I had the crash out, like it was like a small sputter of things. There was a season, L, in my life where I eventually got I came out, I made it all the way to the corporate job on the conveyor belt, right? I had the sob, which Stephanie and I always laugh about because both of us had the sob. My license plate said snob.
With the two A's?
Or yes, just of course, SNAAB. Come on. You see it? Girl, had the whole thing. You know,
I do have to say though, that's quite genius. Snob.
Come on now. Come on.
I love it.
You know, it was very nice. It was good. I was so proud of that when I got that. I thought it was going to be gone and it wasn't. And I was like, shut up. So anyway, I did that. And then eventually I literally blipped out. Like sold my house. Sold my house, put things in storage, moved to an apartment. Girl, left the state. I never got left the country. Left the state, moved. Girl, I was in Florida. I was in Virginia. I was everywhere. Stuff was in storage. I was all over. Like I was having a moment. Okay, so we have a similar like I cannot exist in this faulty conditioned state thing. I got to do something else. Okay, so let me ask this. So once you say I can't do it anymore, what happens next in your life? Because that was years ago. How did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, well, my whole thing wasn't I'm just going to leave school and like chill. I did what I'm a very focused and self-possessed person. So my whole thing was, when I wanted to take time off from college, was to travel. That was the whole reason. So I left. I filled out my leave of absence paperwork, submitted it to the whoever registrar's office, went home to Seattle, worked at Nordstrom at the Mac counter as a makeup artist, saved all my little pennies, took the bus to and from work, borrowed my mom's car when I could, and saved all my little pennies and bought an around the world ticket, and went from Seattle to Bangkok, from Bangkok to Nepal, trekked in the Himalayas, survived an avalanche, went to India, up and down India.
Hold up. Pause. You don't just run past survived an avalanche. No.
I trekked Annapurna Base Camp, and I had my mom. I didn't know anyone who had been to Nepal. There was just something about Nepal that was calling me. So it wasn't like I wasn't in a program. This wasn't study abroad. This was just like, I don't know how Nepal even got on my radar. I was like, I just need to go to Nepal. And my mom had.
I feel that way about like Scotland and Ireland. And I've done DNA tests and it's all up in there. I really feel like something's calling me. I felt that way my whole life. And when you said that, I was like, yeah, I have that feeling about that particular part of the world. I don't know why, but I need to go there.
You do. The only thing I learned how to say in Nepali was, oh God, Mera Ama American, Bao Nepali, which means my mother is American, my father is Nepali. A straight up lie. But that's what I learned how to say. That's the only thing I learned how to say, because I just felt that connection and I was lying to people. Not for any reason, but that's the sentence that I learned how to say. So yes, I understand that like inexplicable connection. So
when you traveled and did what you wanted to, what did the people at home think?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know, because I didn't care. I don't care like what people were thinking, but I know it gave my mom something to brag about, right? Like because it wasn't like I was sitting at home picking my toenails, right? And right, it was like, oh, now she's in Nepal, now she's in India. This is the pic. And I had like an email. This is before, email lists, but I would send email on my Hotmail to this, like all my friends and family. And so they were sharing email. They were proud because no one had. That's not true. My aunt, Georgia McDade, Dr. Georgia McDade, in 1985, went around the world by herself and wrote a book. And then she did a presentation, a slideshow presentation in the church basement. Remember the slides? Like in the like donuts.
I have slides. I have some right there because I literally just had Legacy Box take some stuff off of slides for me.
Yes, this is what she did. And I think that's who planted the seed that I could do this. When I was 6 years old, Dr. Georgia McDade took herself around the world and made a slideshow presentation in the church basement. So that's what I mean. So that's the both and, right? Dr. Georgia McDade, she is a PhD and college professor. This was before she had her PhD. But she was she had at least a master's at this point, and still took a sabbatical to go around the world by herself in 1985 as a solo Black woman. So the people at home, I think, were cheering me on. They were proud of me. I don't think they expected me to do it outside of school by myself, like all these things. But it was still like the sense of, in a sense, she is forwarding it her own way. But the narrative was still my mom's narrative, because she was also paying for Spelman out of pocket. I had no loans, no scholarships, no nothing. Was, we're on the 4-year plan. Get off my paycheck. Even she's an entrepreneur, she's self-employed, but those are her mantras. So that was still like, yeah, proud of you. Do your thing, dilly dally, do whatever. We're on the 4-year plan, which did not happen, and get off my paycheck, which eventually happened, but it took much longer than I think she.
Yeah, I had the 4-year plan. I definitely got the bachelor, so I did that, and then I unraveled entirely. And what I'm doing now is creating. When I say I'm creating a life that I love, I mean that I am creating a life that is actually chock full of what Roshini wants. Right. So my next question for you would be, what role you talk about that you're the Empress of Ease. I listened to your content. and you talk about, getting out of Black excellence and doing things that aren't that aren't misaligned, that are easeful, that are restful. How much did ease, rest, and pursuit of joy and your wants help you? Well, no, let me rephrase that. How much did rest, pause, your traveling, and kind of disengaging from Black excellence and doing your own thing help you figure out what you wanted? Or were you like 100% clear? Or was there like discovery? And also has it shifted? You know what I mean? Because you've been doing something kind of off the beaten path for a while. How much did doing that, saying no to conditioning, help you discover what you want?
I've always known. I've never not done it. I've
Mm.
always known. I've always been strong-willed. You said your birthday's in May. Are you also a Taurus?
Yeah, I think didn't we say that we had like birthdays
When's
close
your
by?
birthday?
5th, May 5th.
Oh yeah, we're 3 days apart. I'm
Cinco
May
de
8th.
Ini.
Yes.
Wait, and yours is what, the 8th?
The 8th.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Right? So I'm strong-willed. I'm determined. I'm focused. Like I just do what I want to do. I've always been that way. I've never been a people pleaser. I've never kind of done other people's never. I've
Mm.
always been like people. The mantra around me has always been like, that's just her. Like that's just now for better or worse. I'm not saying it's always been successful. I'm not saying people have always appreciated it. That's just always been my way.
Mhm.
But I didn't know how to survive, right? I didn't know how to live financially. I didn't know how to make money. I was like, this is the life I want to live. These are my skills. How do I make a life out of this and to sustain myself financially? That is what's taken years to figure out. And so, I've worked retail. I have 12 years of retail experience. That was my first job when I was 14, working at a clothing store, and I worked for years in retail. I've also worked at Microsoft. I've also worked in really large NGOs. I've worked at small NGOs. I've done girls programming. I've done all kinds of different jobs to fund my life, either fund my life so that I could stop and travel, or fund my life as I'm trying to figure out how to build a business. So it's the vision has never changed, but capitalism has made me have to figure out how to survive.
I think we talked about this when we were just chatting once about how we ended up on different sides of a similar coin. Because when you were just talking, I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." She kinda bucked the goad way earlier than I did. Like, I assimilated to the thing and self-abandoned, self-betrayed, like, dissociated entirely,
Yeah.
and was, like, fully into the conveyor belt. I was like, "This is gonna make me happy,"
Yeah.
until I was outside of a corporate job, weeping in that very same snob sob, um, like, losing my mind, literally thinking, "I did everything they told me to do. Why am I not happy?" Whereas I think when we were talking, you were like, "No, I was kinda crystal clear from the beginning." So I guess my question for you, Elle, would be, what would you tell? Because you also said I was never a people pleaser. Girl, I was, "It's me, Jessica. I'm in here." Okay. I mean, I was just externalizing all of it. Who knew who Roshini was? She wasn't there. Um, and when I finally like came back to self, grounded into myself, and started to develop a solid self-concept, I had some weeping therapy appointments where
Mm.
I was like, "Where have I been? Why am I checking out?" So I guess my question from somebody who has the experience that you have, which I think kind of mirrors my sibling a little bit more. I think we talked about that. A little bit more like my sibling, although he ain't gotten back on his. I'm gonna tell the man story. Okay, continue to pray for the saints. But what advice would you give for somebody to tell the difference between conditioning and authentic desire?
I think a great place to start, if you are in the conditioning, if you're on the conveyor belt, if you're on the ladder to nowhere, is what do you secretly want? What are you ashamed to say? What are you afraid of saying? What do you think people might judge you for? Or even not even saying, because that's like a different level. What are you ashamed of thinking, of secretly hoping, right? Like that's where we start. What are you like? You can't even say it out loud. Like you hope no one knows it, but you secretly hope it happens. That's where I think people need to start, because it's really about permission, right? Like it's like we have to give our, like you said, self-abandonment. We have to get, the way we come back home to ourselves is giving ourselves that permission to even think it first before we can say it, before we can even feel it. Like, so that's why it's like the secret shame. What are you, and I'm going to say, like, this is going to sound perhaps, but it's like, sometimes I've had clients who are like, I hope he dies. I hope my boss falls off a cliff and I never have to see him again. Right? Like, I hope, like, what are you gritting your teeth?
Yeah.
So that it barely comes out. Right? Like, that is where we need to start, because that's where the juicy stuff is.
I 1,000% agree. Matter of fact, the video before this that's live on YouTube talking about honoring your desires, one of the things I did was walk you guys through an exercise about using shadow emotions to figure out what you want. Hell. So see, that's why I like you so much, because we be thinking things, the things to be thinking, okay? And I was like, a lot of us, Black women, we are so taught to conform that we don't even know how to approach our wants from the front, from the light side.
That's right.
But we are very familiar with the backside of that thing, okay? Who are you jealous of? Let me tell you what used to run through my head back in the day, before I realized that I could open the door to the prison cell and try to let myself out. I used to look at people and be like, "Why do they get to do that?" Girl, do you hear all the permissiveness in that? And like almost like just sitting down in a position and thinking there's no other option, but also like being totally confused about the fact that I was told that that was not an option, and yet here is this person in front of me doing it. I don't remember being, like, pissed off at them. I know some people go there, but I also didn't, like, hold on to it as a possibility model. I just sat there and stared at them, and then I realized that is actually a very useful emotion to follow.
It is.
Ask those shadow emotions questions. Who are you sitting there thinking, "Why do they get to do that?" Or like Elle said, if your nervous system just fully activates and the only thing you could think of is, "Oh, I hope this person." Just pause and ask some questions, because that is the shadow side of probably a desire, a
100.
want.
Yeah, I call myself the tour guide of the shadowy places, because I love what I call shadow diving. Let's get into the nooks and crannies. Let's get in, because that's where the wisdom is. That's where the richness is. That's where everything happens in the dark, right? Wombs are dark spaces. The earth, soil is a dark for the plants to come up. So much growth happens in the darkness. But we, especially, I think, with a lot of religiosity, we don't even want to talk about it. We don't even want to acknowledge it. We don't even want, like, it's like there's so much judgment, but there's so much richness and wealth and wisdom in our shadow. I don't think shadow is a negative thing, right? Like, but it's stigmatized. Yeah. I think if we give ourselves permission to start exploring it, we come back with treasure. We come back with bounty. That's really where it is.
I think a lot of us are socialized to be able to feel some of those shadow emotions, express them in a stagnant way, but never given the autonomy and liberty to do something about it. I think it's socially acceptable to grit your teeth when you're out with your family and friends and be like, "Oh my God, my boss, I hate him." And everybody's like, "Yeah, girl, me too.
Right.
I hate my boss too. Me too. Excuse me, can I get the shrimp cocktail?" But nobody ever tells you to get the hell about this girl.
Yes.
Get out of there. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a socialization of almost like self-extinguishing, self-stunting expressions.
Ooh.
And we don't learn how to expand into our desires and take it further. So I guess my question for you then would be, how did you learn to take it further? Like, even me, I grew up traveling too, right? Caribbean person, we travel a lot. That's just the basis. We get our passports early. We're all over the freaking planet. I travel all over the place. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. You know, I got a poster framed right here from a dive bar that I ripped off of the wall in Spain. I used to go to this flamenco place. Girl, let me see. That thing there, that's the Puerto de Santa Maria, because I went to Spain, okay? And I used to go to this place all the time. The flamenco ladies used to be hitting me in the face with their skirts. It was great. Okay, bobby pins flying. And I saw the post out, like, "Can I have this?" And the guy was like, "Whatever." And you know how you like, whatever. Anyway, So I lived, Africa, the whole thing. But when I had my crash out, I kind of just stayed in the US. Sometimes I watch you guys online and I'm just like, dang, I could have crashed out to Mali. I read Bali. I didn't really think this thing through. So how did you? They would have never found me again. How? Okay. How did you go beyond the the shoulds? That's what I'm going to say. How did you go beyond the shoulds? And how are you using your desires to actually create a life that reflects L?
I never cared about the shoulds. To be honest, I didn't even know what the shoulds were, other than we go to college. That's it. Like, I did not know and I did not care. I've never cared.
What do you think the shoulds were? Like, if you could guess now, looking back at your upbringing, what do you think they thought you would be doing right now?
Not me personally, because like I said, they were always like, she's gonna do her own thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I can say what my peers that I grew up with are doing, and that'll probably be more indicative.
Yeah.
So my classmates, and this is like, I'll say within my age mates, so within my year, a year below me, and maybe 2 years, so like a 4-year window, the people I grew up with, and this is like the small. I grew up. I'll just to give context. My mother's from Texas. My birth father's also from Texas. My stepfather's from Louisiana. I grew up in a community of Black Southern people in Seattle who decided to raise their children together before they even had kids. So Mississippi, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, like they all, and we call ourselves the village. And we were raised like a biological family, not in the same households, but like they're like, we're all solo Southern Black. We are solo Black Southerners in Seattle who are, this upward mobility, right? So we're going to raise our children together. And from birth, those are what I would consider my brothers and sisters and my aunts and uncles. So that's the context when I refer to like the people who I was raised with, that's who I'm naming. When I look at those age mates, they are almost all of us went to HBCUs, Morehouse, Spelman, and a few other, Howard, a few others. Almost all have, these are the degrees. So we all have BAs or BSs or whatever. They also have PhDs in physics, MBAs, JDs, college professors. No, I'm the only entrepreneur. I'm the only one who works for myself. Everyone else works within a Starbucks, Google, is a tenured college, multiple tenured professors, multiple lawyers. So that's what most of all the men are married, all the women are single, all right. So which is that if I'm going to look at what my peers have done, that's the expectation. You follow the Black Excellence Ladder. You improve on the measurable, tangible, approvable accomplishments that are easily recognizable, right? Like I can be like, I've been to 26 countries. I wrote a book when I was 18. Like that, I can say, I have my own business. I love helping my clients and my clients have a massive success. That's not tangible, right? No one can check that off a list and say, my child done good. Other than like my mother, who I have a different kind of relationship with her, but because she's an entrepreneur and a traveler and more open-minded, she wasn't kind of suppressing those kinds of rigid expectations, but I've always been the outlier too, right? Like when I left Spelman to go travel, nobody else was traveling. They all thought I was crazy, all of them, and not in a like endearing way, not in an endearing way. I remember I was visiting a friend of mine who I went to college, Spelman with, who's actually was the valedictorian of our class. She was getting her PhD at Berkeley. Now she's at Princeton as a tenured professor, blah, blah, blah. And I was visiting her. And in a time, I was just like, I don't know what I was doing. I was just chilling. And I remember getting a message because I was at Berkeley on campus, just walking around. And I got a text message from one of these people who I'd grown up with. And he said, we are really worried about you. He's a year older than me.
Intervention, girl.
Now, I'm not on no substances. I ain't got no kid. I'm not.
You're just resting and figuring it out.
Living my own life. And he said, who is this royal we?
That's what I said. It's an intervention, girl.
We are really
worried about
is that you. A word? I got intervened.
Intervened, girl. They came in.
So that's what I mean. I was like, what are you talking? Like, but it was this, I was rogue, right? Like I call myself rogue bougie, right? Like I went this way and they were all like, this is what we do. This is how we are impressive. This is how we make good on whatever. And I did not care. It was off. Like I was like, there are people that you should legit be. I'm going to say this. Actually, I want to say this too. I'm going to finish that sentence and then I'm going to circle back because this is very important. I wanted to, now what I know now is I should have said, I didn't know it then, but there were people in this same community who legit you should have been worried about. Because now in the year of 2025, some of these same people in that window that I'm naming, one has died by suicide, one has died by overdose. Do you think those are the people who did not want to stay within this and didn't defect? They did not.
I think that, okay, so many things. What you just said is really indicative of why it's so important to have a life that is your own.
Yes.
I'm not saying anything about somebody who chooses to not be here. Okay. I have count them, 3 major depressive disorder diagnoses. I go in to talk to the people about one thing and they diagnose me again against my consent. Hell, I know. Please stop. Cease and desist. So I know what it's like to not want to be here. I have not felt that way in many, many, many years, but back in the day, okay, Roshini would open her eyes and be like, not this again. Okay. Right. So I get it. However, one of the major things that contributed to the deep depression was I was self-abandoning. I was cramming myself into a life that was not me. That wasn't me. I was checking the boxes and these boxes effing sucked. Right. And like, I thought that I was going to have some satisfaction and fulfillment and joy. I was willing to put off my joy. I can't even imagine. Did you hear what I just said? And let's have a moment of silence. Girl, I was willing to put off my joy for some unpromised, unproven, because the people before me, they wasn't happy either. Correct. Everybody was checking the boxes and everybody was like, well, maybe if you do it, it'll work for you. And that is what drove me to opening my eyes, thinking nihilistic thoughts. None of this matters. What is the point? No reason in being here. So you're right. Those people who are consciously waking up maybe unconsciously, waking up every morning and creating a life that does not have their authentic desires in it, ain't nothing more depressing.
That's right.
And for some people, they go to rage. Right. And you see all these people crashing out and doing horrible, harmful things. And I think part of that is because our society does not allow or message us. Black women is who I'm talking to, but I don't think anyone in this structure gets the messaging that you get to create a life that's your own.
That is it. So that's why, like, because I've always been this way, like I'm gonna show up in a purple wig or a pink wig or whatever, like I'm going to show up and say the things. I didn't know that this was a quality or trait of mine, but I have learned over my lifetime that I'm good for saying the quiet part out loud, right? Like to me, I'm just talking. And like you said, people at dinner, like, saying, I just say it with an open mouth. Like because to me, there's no charge to it. Like there's no charge. There's no judgment. There's no value. I'm just telling what I think is true. And I think when we internalize this idea that there's really the respectability politic, particularly for Black women, like there's a right way to be and a wrong way to be. And if we don't do the right way, we are unvaluable. We are unlovable. We are wasted, right? Like our ancestors or our elders wasted all their sacrifice because now we are doing this, right? Like if we internalize that, I think those are lies from the pit of hell. But if we internalize that, then it shapes our that is the self-abandoning, right? Then because we're externalizing our value, we're externalizing our worthiness. We have to know, this is why I say we are born excellent and nothing has changed. Nothing. Well, there's nothing to prove. Black excellence is like this idea that you have to prove that you're worthy. There's nothing to prove. When you anchor in that and really embody it in every atom of your being, that there's literally nothing to prove, you're free.
I just edited a video to put on my short form about the question of who is your audience? And I was basically saying, Elle, that for so many years, my audience was other people,
Mm,
social constructs. Who was I performing for? Who was I doing this for? I was like, once it's literally what you just said. Once I realized my audience was me,
that's it.
I anchored into a me, and me shows up.
That's it.
So me shows up this way at work. Me shows up this way on YouTube. I don't do my hair for YouTube, but look like a haggard mess at the house. I be at the house like this. I used to have a part-time job, and my boss would ask for last minute calls, and the call would pop up, and he would always be like, "Are you sitting at your desk looking like that?" Yeah, 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 yeah. Like I don't do it to perform for other people. I discover Rushni and Rushni does this. You know what I mean? Rushni
Yes.
likes colorful clothes. Rushni is a bit pineapple obsessed. Okay? You know what I mean? Imma be pineapple obsessed even when you say I'm not supposed to be, because that's what we're doing. So it's literally that thing of like creating a life that is indicative of your true desires.
That's it.
And for the first time, many of us asking ourselves, what do me, the spirit in the meat suit. I know Marissa. What do I want? And how can I create something that aligns with that, like reflects it? Okay, so here's a question for you, Elle. What life are you creating for Elle now? We kind of talked about like where you came from, what the expectation was, the fact that you always had a very strong sense of self, even though you didn't, as a child, understandably so, you weren't like fully realizing it. But very early on in the process, you were like, okay, I figured out that this is it. And you've defected, you've traveled the world, you've done what you're doing. You also said that capitalism got in the way. What right? But you're clear now on what you want. What is it you want? What are you creating now for Elle?
Well, one thing, I'm moving out of the country again, October 1st. I have a one-way ticket to Bangkok. I'll be in Thailand, in Bangkok for a month, and then Vietnam for a couple of months. I'm looking for a home base out of the country because I'm not in support of what's happening here,
Mhm.
shenanigans. So that's what I'm creating for myself right now. And just wanting to have as much financial stability as possible. That's also what I'm creating for myself. I was living in, the last time I lived abroad was in 2022. At the end of 20, I was there for about a year in Rwanda, and I had a medical emergency and had to come back to the States and had to have a GoFundMe to get me back and to take care of my health and all this stuff. And I am like, I will never, I mean, I'm grateful. I'm forever grateful for every single penny that allowed me to, that saved my life, literally.
Mhm.
And I never want to have to do that again,
Mhm.
ever. And so I'm been very intentional and very deliberate about creating financial stability for myself. And what does that actually look like on my own terms, right? This is the capitalism part, because I think we live in such a binary, like, work for someone else to create financial stability. And like you said, and then do your fun stuff on the side. Right. And I'm like, no, I want to create my financial stability myself, or people can give me money. Like I'm not
Yeah,
against that.
I'm there for it. I back in the day, I would have never. Do you hear me? Back in the day, I was so proud that I had to like earn my money. When I
Oh,
tell you, you can give it to me. I
you
have
can give
been
it to me.
freed from that.
No, you can give it. I
You
will
can give it
accept it
to me
happily, joyfully. No strings
happily.
attached. No strings attached. Just out of the
Just
kindness
hand
of
it
your
to
heart.
me. I'll take it.
That's what I'm saying.
Sure
Yeah,
will.
I'm a good receiver. I will take it. I
Listen,
am
I
very.
had I had a great uncle toss me to and fro back when I remember I told you before this I was moving all over the place. Well, I
Yeah.
told you in this call, and when I was in Queens, when I was living in a third floor walk up in Queens, I met some family members I had never met before. My mom was like, "Oh, I have a great uncle." He was great. So I got really close with them, and this was I was in my 30s, and he was like, "You don't know how to receive." And at the time, I was like, but he was right. Like looking back from where I am now, I totally had that pride of like being the giver and like that
Mm.
superiority that I didn't know came with that. And he lectured me, and it took me many years. When I tell you now, breathing on 50's neck, give me something.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
just relax right into that. Receive. Okay, I will take it happily.
that's it. Like, ease is about receiving. And I'm not saying be selfish and don't ever give, but I think particularly Black women, over-index on giving. We
Speak
know
on
how
that.
to
No,
give.
speak on that for real. Speak more about ease and receiving,
Yeah,
because a life that we say we want to be seen, we say we want the things that come with ease and reception, and then we fight it tooth and nail.
that's what I'm saying. We have to learn how to receive. And I understand the trauma that there can be trauma. Can have string, people may have given us with strings attached or hidden agendas and all this stuff. So that's also about being a more discerning. But I would say that comes after being good at receiving and knowing that you're worthy of receiving. So much that we've been socialized is that we have to, like you said, earn it, prove it, show it that we're worthy of receiving, that we have toiled and labored, and now I can rest. No, girl, rest is the way. Ease is the way. Like that is the mind switch. Ease is the path. And that requires knowing that you're worthy of receiving. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. And I understand we haven't always had that modeled. We haven't always received it. And like you said, when you want, like, who's your audience you are? And I would dare say it's a 6-year-old you, an 8-year-old you, a 5-year-old you who didn't know how to receive, who had to overwork, who had to cook, clean, who had to I didn't have to cook and clean, but I was parentified very young. I had to caretake very young. I had to have emotional responsibility very young, right? It wasn't about me I received in a lot of ways, and I don't want to minimize that, but in terms of like feeling safe, fully safe and seated and like just like safe, because receiving requires like safety is a part of healthy receiving, right?
Yeah.
Trusting that. But worthiness comes first. Knowing that you're worthy comes first so that you can feel, because you have to know that you're worthy so that when it is unsafe, you leave, right? If you don't know you're worthy and you're unsafe, you will stay and hope it gets better, hope they change, hope things improve. When you're like, no, this isn't meeting my standards, I'm out. That's because you know who you are and that you're worthy.
I almost tore up this live just now when you said that. Hold up, wait. I ain't been to church in years, but the church hey, wait a minute. I have to remember that I'm on the internet. Do you see me? You should see me squeezing my finger. And I'm like, man. I'm holding it together. What did that TikTok sound say? I'm finding it.
Tell us what's happening with you. Tell us what's
I'm not gonna tell all my business now. All I'm saying is she is correct. Okay? She is correct in a way that I cannot express. Girl, what? Yes. And I love all of this has panned out in my own lived life, creating a life that I want. Rest, I love that you said rest is not something you get later after you struggle, Black woman. Rest is the way. Joy is not something you have to earn, and then eventually, after you've toiled and caught an autoimmune disease, and hopefully we ain't standing over you in a box with one of those airbrush memorial pictures because you're dropping out early because we done worked you to death. Don't laugh, Elle. You know it. It's such a common experience.
I'm just laughing at the airbrush. I just see the airbrush.
And now they do AI ones, and you be like, nah, come on now. They got an AI video of you. You didn't even make it past 54 because you have crammed yourself into self-betrayal and self-abandonment and struggle as a value proposition. Everyone has used you as the capital in capitalism Black woman. Okay. And then eventually you're going to get your prizes at the end of this when you medically aren't even able to enjoy them.
That's
right? Or in the sweet by and by. I was about to cuss, but I don't cuss on the internet, Elle, because I'm a lady. Okay. F that. I kid you not. When you just said that, everything in my nervous system activated because it took me busting my head open on that very concept to realize I get to have rest now. I get to have joy now. I get to create a life I want right now. I'm not waiting for anybody's permission. I don't even care if you give me like it. I don't know how you had it internally. It was a process for me. I literally don't even care if you gave me permission. Matter of fact, I checked the tree before I picked the fruit, and your tree is rotten. I don't see no fruit, and if there's fruit on it, it's rotten. I don't want it anyway. Please stop giving me advice. I seek out people like you. I seek out people who are going after the very thing that I want. And I face that. I ask myself internal questions. And like I said, I put one foot in front of the other.
That's it.
And I just keep getting closer and closer to something that feels more like Roshini now, not later. Because the messaging that was passed down to me, the conditioning that I got in my own family system, culture system, church system was glory in the struggle, sacrifices your portion. Matter of fact, it's noble and beautiful and what you're created for. Everyone else is ahead of you, kid, man, society, everybody. And you'll get it eventually. But if you don't get it now, in the sweet by and by, I want it now. And one of the reasons why I sit up here on Roshini's internet, I was going to say Tabitha Brown's internet, but I remember that I switched it to saying my internet because since I make jokes about it's my internet too, I sit up here on Glamzini's internet. Okay,
that's right.
Saying stuff like this aloud is one for myself, but two to be a possibility model. And I invite beautiful humans like Elle, so that Black women that are listening know you get to have it now. You get to create it now, which is such a foreign thought for so many of us. We don't even know what we want. We don't know who we are. We don't know any of it. We've literally been a tool in a system for so long that when somebody says, a lot of times when I ask women like who they are or what they want when I'm coaching with them, they tell me what they do. Which is not, or the role they play in somebody else's life.
And I want to
beautiful. Go ahead.
Name that this isn't in a vacuum and it's not out of nowhere, right? I want to name, we as descendants of enslaved people, whether in the Caribbean or on this continent, came here as capital. We came here for centuries and have been here for centuries. Our ancestors and elders were here as saying your value is your labor. We didn't make it up, right? Like this comes from a very long, very toxic, very abusive pattern that has been epigenetically in our literal DNA, something that we have lived with for centuries. And so we are doing the work of unhooking and dismantling, but it doesn't make it easy. And it doesn't.
Because our ancestors would actually be in harm's way when they would not produce labor.
They would be unalive.
Right. So it makes sense that you feel some kind of way. You 100%. Feel some kind of way in your body. You feel some kind of way in your spirit. You feel some kind of way in your mind because it's literally, like she said, generationally passed down to you that if you are not producing labor for some other thing, your value is no more. You can be gone.
You're in danger.
Yeah.
I just learned this recently because I didn't know. And I have a whole video on my channel from years ago where I talk about Black people and manifestation. I'm like, we were capital, so I've said that, right? Like we were considered capital. I did not know that there were 3 states in the Confederacy that literally printed Confederate bills and had images of enslaved people on the bills. Enslaved people were on Confederate dollars. 3 states had this. So not only were our bodies capital, we were on physical paper capital that people traded for goods. So this is so unlearning this, deconditioning, rewiring is real work. I feel like I'm hooting and hollering because I'm so passionate about this. It's like, I don't want us to ever feel like we're doing anything wrong by feeling this way, right? Like what we didn't have a lot of options. I mean, like I think Harriet Tubman, I think we have had people who were like, I'm going to do this hell or high water, but most of us did not, right? Like most of us were just trying to stay alive. And so we don't live in a society, we don't live in a culture, we don't live in anything that affirms this until we start affirming it for ourselves. There is no external validation until you, Roshini, are creating the platforms, creating the conversations.
We are part of that. Like, when you were talking about your peers all kind of show up in a similar way. I have groups of people, not necessarily my peers, because I kind of told you that I stuck out a little bit when it came to my particular peers. But once I went to college, right? Carnegie Mellon. Once I plopped into Carnegie Mellon, my peers, yeah, exactly what you said. That's what they're doing. I would like to point this out. I'm gonna hop out and just hop back in. We don't have to say anything. We just have to have a moment of silence. You were Your people went to HBCUs. Yeah.
Almost all of
I
them,
was
not all.
told I could not go to an HBCU. We're just going to look in the camera and just have a moment of silence for anti-Blackness. Let's stop. For everybody, stop. All right, we're just going to process why I, a 6'1" tall Black woman, would be told you ain't going to school with them. And that's the first time I've actually said that outside of my mouth. You said that, and I was just like, oop, recessive memory unlocked. Yeah, girl, let's have a moment for anti-Blackness. You want to talk about conveyor belt? Okay, anyway, so back to I was like, I need to let that breathe. Because when you said it, something in my brain was like, wait a minute. I was literally told the opposite. Like, I have to extricate you so that you have a chance. And this is what I was going to say. It's not like all of the peers that did the things aren't, how do I say? It's not like they can't produce more predictable outcomes in a capitalist system.
Correct.
Right? It's not like if you want to stay safe and you want to be, you want to make your, 1 to 2 6-figure job with a corner office, there's a path. There's a clear path to kind of get there. And you can have I was going to say Tesla, but nobody want a Tesla. You can have your Rivian and your, McMansion in like the things that it's safe. And nobody is thwarting safe. That is not what this video is about. My question is, do you want that?
I want to speak to this because my brother, biological, well, we have the same dad. He's 12 years older than me, right? He started out a little bit veered, not intentionally. He was just doing his own thing. But then he was like, okay, I'm gonna get on track. Got his bachelor's, got 2 master's degree, one from maybe Carnegie Mellon, not Carnegie Mellon. What's the other one that has 2 names? No, Carnegie Mellon. Wait, what city is Carnegie Mellon in?
Pittsburgh.
Yes. One of his masters is from Carnegie Mellon. Yes. My brother was the CIO of Costco at one point, right? Like, went on to do the things. Mm-hmm. And I remember him calling, I'm just telling all his business because I'm telling it, but I remember him calling me at one point because this is the kind of blessing and the double-edged sword of being the rogue or being the one who goes first, right? You are the possibility model, right? So my brother has married 2 white women, right? Like, has done the things that Black men are rewarded for, right? Mm-hmm. Calls me and is like, I hate my job. I'm miserable. I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, he's like, what should I do? Right? Because he has seen me do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm like, okay.
Did he like FaceTime you and you pop up with like a gold head wrap on a beach somewhere? And he's like in his corner office, like, miserable. I hate my life. You're just like, this connection is so bad. Let me call you back. Garçon, could you bring me a drink, please?
So I told him there's a 10-day silent meditation retreat called Vipassana. And I've done it 5 times. Uh-huh. It's free. Okay. Not that he needs it to be free, but it is. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you need to go just sit with yourself and see what comes up, because you have been following this Black excellence ladder to nowhere. You don't even know what you want or who you are. Go sit in Vipassana. When I tell you, to this day, he ain't sat in nothing. He's just gone from corporate job to corporate job, misery to misery.
Send me that, by the way, because there are monasteries that let you do like silent retreats. And I've been stalking the monasteries forever. I'm like, I need to just go there one time. And
I've done that.
Have you done it?
I love the monastic life. I love
I do. I have a task that comes up in Asana because I'm, like, weird like that, that reminds me to check the website, and I'm, like, hovering over
Right.
these
There are so
monasteries.
many good ones. There's so many good. I've done it multiple times
They
in
look
multiple,
amazing. I don't know if you
multiple
guys know that. I know Elle and I just having a chop up here. You can go do silent retreats at a monastery.
I
It's
love.
amazing. Anyway, I want so send me the thing, whatever it is that you were just talking about, send me the name of it
Oh, I will.
because I
Okay.
yeah,
I can put it in the chat actually.
yeah.
So I say all this to say that it takes something to be the rogue, right? It takes
Mhm.
something to be the defector. It takes something to be it. And it's not that people aren't watching. They're watching. They may
Always
not have
watching.
the courage to
Girl, they
do.
always watching. Oh, sorry, that was did you see the tooth grit?
I
They
did.
always watching
I
you.
saw the teeth.
They always watching you. You
They
know
are.
I'm out here on the internet, and I've been going first with a lot of stuff. I've been going first with natural hair. I've been going first with social media, and they always come in under the hood later. Later.
I cut my hair off for the first time when I was 15.
Mm.
I I just was like, because I have a looser curl texture, and I was like, I'm too excited about my hair being this loose. I'm too excited about it. I'm cutting my hair off because I want to know who I am without hair. See, I told you I've always been
That's
this
what
way.
I'm just like, "Oh,
And then I
oh."
went on to be a cheerleader, right? Like it wasn't one. It didn't stop nothing. But this is the 90s, right? So people are getting perms and all kinds of stuff, and they're like, psh, 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 psh. Same people now. And then in college, I got locks, right? These same jokers
Always.
now natural with locks, right?
Mhm.
When I was 15, I went vegan. I was vegetarian first, and then I went vegan. Well, you ain't gonna have no right. My mom didn't eat pork or beef, so she didn't give me a. But she was like, chicken? You ain't gonna eat no chicken?
That's why I asked you what they said about you because you know how there's a saying that says first they call you crazy, then they call you and ask you how you did it.
Yes.
And that's what I think about people who create a life that is directed with their wants. People are afraid. And some people are innovators. Some people are path pavers. I was just telling my coaching clients, I don't remember what call it was on. I was telling them how I had to wrestle with this grief that I felt about realizing that I'm one of those people in some spaces that shows up in a space where nobody is and thinks, I think there's something here and cuts down the trees. Girl, I'm out there with a machete cutting down the trees. Okay. People come behind me and just traipse on down the path
That's
that
right.
people like me paved. But what I'm saying is when it comes to authentic desires and wants, you get to live that life now. Like that's the
You
part
did.
of it that excited me and the part that kind of took me out of the grief of like, dang, look how easy it is for them. But at the same time, I'm creating it for me now. I don't care that you watching me. I know that you're watching me. Matter of fact, so and so whispered that this person told me that, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I get it. But also, Black woman, you get to live some version of the thing, what your mind can conceive, you can create it, right? You can move in a direction. I know, Elle, that you're always talking about how you're like bougie rogue, where isn't that what you said? What you laughing at? I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
I'm
it's
trying to
true.
Ain't you you are kind of bougie, and I think that's part of
Well,
why I
I
like you.
am.
No, I do. I like you because when I listen to you, Ella's like, you didn't say this on the video, but I'm gonna say. And by the way, we're over. So if you need to go,
Oh
you
no,
guys let me
we
know.
have time.
But this is what I was gonna say. I watch your videos, and you'll be like, "Yeah, I need to make money." Like you'll be like totally conscious of the fact that like I don't have no money right now, but also I refuse to live that way. That's below me. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our money up.
That's
Okay? We're gonna get our money up. And I'll be like, I think I understand that because the way that I have champagne tastes, okay, but beer money. So then I'm like, I need to get champagne money, or I need somebody to give me. I need to receive. You're like,
both
I
hands.
totally
Both
the
hands.
level at which the life, the wants that Elle has, I'm just like, I get that. Where it's like, don't think I'm gonna go out here and be struggling. I've
No,
done struggle. I'm not struggling now. I'm gonna have to bring my finances, like you said, capitalism is effing this thing up. I'm gonna have to bring my finances up to what I want. But that goes back, Elle, to what we were saying earlier about knowing who you are and what you want.
that's right, and no shame about it. Like I have had. I'm so glad you're naming this because I have had. Because to me, like I say, I just say the things. I'm not like, is someone going to think that I'm bougie? Is someone, and to me, bougie is not a negative thing. I know to some
It's
people,
not to me either, girl. I have been called bougie.
I'm,
I think you guys get a much more playful version of me because I've started to be more Russian-y, which is much more like how my dad was. But in the years of my mom, in the buttoned up suits and the snob me, the, like, straight hair, which none of you guys the, like, the relaxed hair, I was full please, I got bougie allegations at all times, and I thought that that was great. Girl, I had snob on my license plate.
That's to me, I want to just, before I say the thing, there's a difference between being bougie, which to me, and I know everyone has a different definition, is like lifestyle, and being elitist and being a snob. Like
I was both. Hell, I'm
there,
trying to tell on myself. Your girl
no,
had to
but I'm
really
saying for my
I had to
definition.
heal some brokenness in there. Okay, I had some faulty sense of self things going on, some shallow, you know what I mean? Like I look back and I'm like, "Oh, girl, that was a mess." But back, you couldn't tell me nothing back then. I was both. Okay.
I identify with bougie. I do not identify with elitist or snob. But I think, and I want to say this first too, because this is part of what, even though I'm not in active relationship with my mother, and that is its own complicated thing, I am so grateful for so much about her, because this is what one of my favorite things about her that is like foundational bedrock is my mother loves being Black, and she loves Black people, and ensured that I was raised with other Black people who love being Black and love Black people. And so even though I grew up with this kind of multi-generational class stability, it wasn't about we're this kind of Black and they're that kind of Black. Never. That
Oh,
was
I had all of that.
never the
Mhm.
discussion. And so that is why my mom is not, even though she has all these things, has always had Black friends across all kinds of class experiences. And so have I. And that is, I think, what makes it different. So I just wanted to say that, because I have said I love to fly first class. I
Listen,
love having
I
domestic
hear you,
support.
and you better protect your name and your reputation. Let
Right.
me tell the people about Rushni, okay? I had to decide this conversation about what we want.
Yes.
I was conditioned to be all them horrible things you just said, okay? I'm better than you. I'm the girl.
Oh,
And my brain had to really be like one day, like, this don't feel aligned. Like, I don't like this way of experiencing other humans. And then I had to confront my own raggedy elitist thought. So that's what I was like, that's a lot of the things. Like, who do you want to show up as, Rushni? I
yeah.
don't want to show up like that. Even if I have conditioning to that, even if I come from people who have, you know, passively given me that message and sometimes overtly given me that message. Like, I don't want to be her. So I had to. So I hear you. And I mean, I know we're kind of like saying it in tongue in cheek, but I'm just identifying that what you want doesn't only show up in like what hairstyle you want and how you want to present yourself physically to the world or where you want to live. What you want can be the character traits that you decide you don't want. Like a person who goes toward ease. One of the things that I have asked myself every single morning in my affirmations is, what is the easiest way to do this? I had to start saying, what is the easiest way to do this? What is the most pleasurable way to do this? Because I realized I probably started that like 3 years ago as part of my affirmations, because I realized I was choosing the struggle way. And if it felt easy, I thought something was wrong with it, which is entirely contradictory to the
That's what
life that
I'm
I
saying.
want.
That's exactly right. But that's that conditioning, right? That's that programming. That is that multi-generational. You have to prove, you have to earn it. What do they say? What's that Bible? What's the thing about feet? What's it? Something about feet, dust under the feet. Isn't there something about, y'all put it in
Yeah,
the,
but I don't know how you mean it in this context.
no, it's like, I know there's like an idle's hands or the devil's workshop,
Yeah.
but something like also like don't let dust gather under your feet.
Something
Am I
like
making
that,
that?
girl. Sure. There's somebody said, listen, I was trying to avoid it. New Mean 73 said the church keeps us in so much shackles. I tried not to even. I listen, I love the Lord. He heard my cry and pitied every groan. Okay, long as I live. Come on, Whitney Houston, sing to us. But also, let's just say there's so many systems,
There
church
are.
included. Church is one of the systems that doesn't allow us to know what we want. It tells us what we want.
That's right.
It tells us what we want. You
And
don't even know what you want. You are just regurgitating talking points at this point. And church does it like the whole thing, capitalism, but church is definitely one of them. So yes, the messaging of struggle is and sacrifice,
uh-huh.
especially
Diversity
for
of thinking.
women, because church is a very patriarchal space.
That's right.
Sacrifice, especially for women, right?
Yeah,
Is baked right into the message. Okay, it's folded right in. And we go out into our day and do what we are told to do from a positive lens from people we assume care. I assumed those people cared for me. I still think that they care for me. I had to extricate. Matter of fact, girl, I feel like God had to extricate me. The way I would have still been up in there if a panini press had not popped me right out of there. Okay, I was gonna bust the door wide open. I was gonna bust the door wide back open. And God had to really be like, Rushni, sat down. No, sat down. No, sat down. No, Rushni, sat down. You know what I
That's
mean? To
one
get
way
me
or another.
away from the messaging. And the
That's
messaging was harming me, not just in the space of church, but it was pervasive across the messaging of struggle and not having a life that reflected me across my whole life. Across my whole life. And we get to do that. I think so I want to wrap up in a second, but one of the messages, like, when this life is over, you know what I mean? And I think about like the mark that I've made in the lives of others. I want certain things for myself, which I'm gonna get to because that's important to me. I don't want to just make marks in other people's lives and y'all standing over a box talking about how great Rushni was with the airbrush, right, Elle? And I didn't get to live nothing remotely close to Rushni's life. We off that. That
the
makes me
airbrush
like
is
us.
so specific, and I just
Girl, it's so specific because it happens to so many Black women.
I know.
We
Can I
standing
say
over
something
her,
before you
and
say
the only thing we can say about this woman is how she sacrificed for everyone else. And then we are told to applaud that. And as Black women, we stand there, and that's really the portion that's all we're allowed to have. I'm off that. You're gonna have to think I'm a rebel. You're gonna have to think I'm rogue. You're gonna have to label me selfish. I don't know what you're gonna label me, but whatever you're labeling me, I'm gonna be somewhere else doing what I want to do.
That's what I'm saying. People always are asking me, like, what do you think? I don't think about what other people think about me. I literally don't care. It does not occur to me.
See, I love that for you, Elle. On the other hand, it has been a process of unlearning because my entire audience was external.
Yeah.
I didn't even think I was doing that. I did not think I was doing that. But I was, because girl, why do I have a Saab? I don't even like Saab. I like, they're cute. I like my car. Don't get me wrong. But like, I never really thought about it. I just had a rich family member who had Saabs, and the choice to me was a Saab or a Volvo. Like, that's what was.
But it's also a status symbol, right?
Exactly.
It communicates something.
Exactly. Right. So it's like I never even stopped, which is why I tell people the pause is always the first step. Right? Just stop for a second.
It is.
Just stop moving.
I want to say something though. I want to go back a little bit to the bougie elitist, not that part of the conversation, but like when I have said things like I love to fly first class, or I love domestic support, or I don't cook but I love to eat and I like paying people to do this for me. Like things I'm not even trying to make a statement about. I'm just saying the facts. I've had other Black women call me bougie, but not from my definition, from a like, and say things like, "Oh, it must be nice." And that's how we start to pick each other, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how we start to like try and squash each other back down to size. Like, no, come back down to where I think you belong in this Black womanhood box of, like you're saying, serving, sacrificing, suffering, right? That's where you belong. And how dare you want something more for yourself if you're not retired, if you haven't earned it, if you haven't proved it, if you haven't, right? And so I want us to start also noticing it, because it can feel so conversational and joking, like, oh girl, that must be not, or, you know, like what, oh, you got it like that. Whatever the things are, it's just like subtle, but it's there. And I want you to like, my response to it must be nice is, of course it's nice.
It
like,
is nice.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I want it.
If it wasn't nice.
That's why I want it. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm watching you say those things and I'm sitting there thinking, I know that's right, girl. Like in my mind, the idea, there might have been a version of me that thought that, but this must be healing work because she's so far gone. Seriously, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm sure that there was a version of me that would have looked at you and be like, oh, I should get to do that. Some foolishness, girl. Who knows? But anyway, now when I listen to you, I think I know that's right. I know that's right. Correct. That's what I want. Matter of fact, let me steal that from her and put that in my thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like part of it too is like being authentic. Like you said, me being like, I don't got the money right now, but I'm gonna figure out how to do it. Because I also don't ever want to be in a place where I'm pretending like I have it and I don't have it. Because that is exhausting. Like I can't keep up with the joke. I can't keep up with nobody but myself. And sometimes that's tiring, you know? So like, I don't ever want to do that. And I think part of this performance of respectability and Black womanhood is like, it don't matter. The messaging is it don't matter if you actually have it or not, as long as everyone thinks you have it. That audience that you're talking about.
Now, listen, not only does it not matter if you have it, it only matters that people think you have it, and you only live in the story. You never actually live in the embodiment of the thing. You think your life is just the story you tell. And so you are like so confused about what life is that a person that has a tactile, lived in, embodied life where they are filling out the crevices
Ooh.
and they are brave enough to say that sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. Have it like they're being authentic seems so foreign to you. You will sit it's almost like the Wizard of Oz, where when they got there, it was just like a dude moving the arms and legs. I have met so many people, and I'm not saying this to be, like, indicting anybody. I think this was me.
Mm.
I thought the story I told was my life. Does that make sense? So,
Mm.
I'm literally having depressive crash outs, but I'm church going and I'm married and I have the car and the job and it never dawned on me that I could integrate the two to a real authentic life that reflected what I wanted because I had not seen that. I saw a lot of performative shell things. And something inside of me was like screaming about that disintegration, literally.
Yeah.
And one day it was like, listen, if I told you the depression situation, I hope I got that out. The depression situation took me into the abyss of like, what is the point of this? Like nihilism. None of this matters. And the irony is, in my mind, something clicked and something was like, if none of this matters, then all of it matters. It was like the weirdest, like, you know how you're so hungry that you're not hungry anymore? My
Yes.
brain went all to like, if
The fairy
all
tale.
of these systems and checklists that these people told me do not bear fruit, that means this is a playground. I can make everything up. Like it literally, my brain was like, if
Literally.
none of it matters,
Literally.
like the weirdest thoughts. I mean, this might sound a little off, but it's true. This is what got me to where I am now. I literally was like, if none of this matters, that means I could spend the whole afternoon staring at a tree and just like marveling at the fact that the tree is pretty. And it doesn't mean I'm wasting some time and I should be building, building, building because none of this matters anyway. And I started looking at things like a playground. Oh, I could just, if I really like pineapples because they make me happy, it doesn't matter how old I am. I
That's
could
right.
just start buying a bunch of pineapple stuff.
That's right.
Maybe I should put on some lip gloss. Do I want to wear my hair like that? Is that considered professional? Do I care? Like literally, it was like it dismantled the systems. And then my brain clicked into, oh, this is a blank slate.
That's right.
Oh, I get to like do things. And then I started looking for other people like yourself, like Stephanie. You know what I mean? People who were operating as though life was a canvas they were painting on and not the ladder to nowhere, like you said. And I like it better over here.
I do too. The gauge that I use, this is my universal, is this true or not gauge. Has this always been true across all time and space?
Mm-hmm.
Is this true everywhere in the world? If this does not pass both of those tests, it's not true.
Well,
It's just because it can't be.
it cannot be.
If it hasn't been true since the existence of mankind, if men haven't always had to marry women since everywhere in the world since the beginning of humankind, it's not universal truth. It's just it may be a cultural, it may be religious, it may be that's a zing zang zoom, but it's not a universal truth. Have humans always had to breathe oxygen? Yes. That's universal.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can agree on that. I can agree on that. Have people with uteruses given birth? Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Are there societies that have historically had 18 genders? Yes.
Yeah.
Which means it can't just, okay, now we're getting somewhere else. But
no, I understand what you're saying. And I I think I've approached that thought process with several things in my life too, and even brought it to people with extremely rigid thought processes and gotten blank stares when I've, like, said things to I'm literally thinking about something very specific, and I was like, "Have you ever thought about that?" You know how you bring, like, your deep thoughts
Right.
to somebody and they're just like, "No, black and white." And you're just like, "Wait, no, grays." No, they're like, "Mm-mm. No, matter of fact, you're a heretic. Burn her at the stake." And you're just like, "Oops, wrong person," you know? But and I wanna close, but the most important thing I want anybody listening to this amazing conversation that we're having is to realize that no matter how old you are, no matter what you have created in a life that may not feel aligned with you right now, you still get to make changes. You still get to wake up every single morning and put something else on this blank palette. And it's not a blank, it's not a canvas. It's not a blank canvas now because there's stuff on it. So it makes it a little harder, but you're not powerless. This is not prescriptive, right? You each of us have our own one lived unique life. As much as we don't know. Maybe we do come back and maybe I'm the goat at goat yoga that I'm always joking around about with Marissa, right? Maybe I'm the goat yoga goat when I come back. Who knows? But as far as I know, this is all we got. And if you're watching me on your cellular digital device right now, which means you woke up this morning and you have at least the autonomy to make some small choice. And all it takes is small incremental choices toward the life that you want. Before we got on the video, Elle was like, "Hey girl, how you doing?" And I was like, "Girl, I'm going through active hell." I'm going through hell back here. Also, I'm cute and I'm going to a free concert with my friends this afternoon. You get to make small incremental choices. Turn the volume down on anyone telling you to get back on the ladder to nowhere if it's not what you want.
That's
And
right.
turn the volume up on other people who are creating lives that they want.
That's right.
You might not get exactly what you want, but you will get close to it.
That's right. I just put my can't see any of the comments. They're all a blur, but I just did put my glasses on briefly and I see Tashana in the comments. So I want to say also,
girl, you watch, you can't see.
I can't see nothing.
Ain't nobody doing that. You still care about the way it looked. I don't even.
And I know Tashana from Atlanta. So first of all, say hi, Tashana, and give DePolly and the family my love. So I want to say that. But I think it's also important to be with community, right? Yeah. Tashana and I were in community together in Atlanta for many years, in community with people who are living their lives, doing their own things, being creative, being curious, being expressive. And that's, I think, the other part, because, and I'm not, my idea of community and friendship and belonging continues to evolve, because I feel like when you're rogue, when you're an outlier, when you go first, when you cut down the trees, it can be lonely and it can be isolating. I'm not saying that grief.
That was the grief
for you all the time on the other side. But it is important to figure out how to find the real connections and the real people who see you, because there will be people who do see you. It may not be the masses, but there will be those, and that's who we hang on to.
Yeah, and it's not going to be the masses. I'm not even going to say it may not be. You put may in there. I'm like, Black women is not.
That was
just keep it real. It ain't gonna be the masses, okay? Most people are gonna tell you to get back in your place, get back in your position, get back in the system. They're gonna start giving you a bunch of assignments. And so the brave and courageous work is to anchor yourself in a self and realize that if you do say yes to those assignments, it should be from a place of integration. It should never be from obligation. That's why I put right, because we default to that obligatory thing. And that's why, like she says here, community is so helpful, because you have to have the people. Okay, this is so nuanced, but hopefully you guys can hear me, right? Because there's a lady going viral on TikTok right now for believing that her psychiatrist is in love with her, and she's in Delulu land. So I don't want to ever encourage you to just ignore anybody that's giving you counsel. I don't want to do that, okay? Because that could get real weird real quick. But what I'm saying, you see what I'm saying? I was like, I don't want to be like, ignore the haters and only listen to people that, no, because that can lead you to psychosis and we don't want it, okay? But what I'm saying is, You get to have a life with you in it. You
100%.
girl, you get to create a life with you in it. And do not wait for permission from other people to begin making those small steps because most of us Black women listening to this video, we're not going to get the permission.
That's exact.
We're not
So
going to get it.
can I? Okay,
Go ahead.
I know we're about to get off, but I
No,
just
no,
want
go
to
ahead. Go ahead.
right quick because let's go back to my story about being at Spelman and having the school therapist.
Mhm. Yeah.
Tell me I was acting like a spoiled child who wasn't getting what she wanted. When you are anchored in yourself, like you just said, you will have discernment to know that's some BS. I'm out. Right now, I'm not talking about the woman on TikTok who maybe doesn't have discernment.
That's why I had to put the nuance out there because there are absolute edge cases that can become problematic. Don't do that, you guys. But there's nuance to this. You also can't go all the way to the other side and listen to all of. That's why I say check the tree before you pick the fruit. When a person is giving you counsel, do you want what they have? Have they created any results? I'm not saying they had to live through it, but where are they getting this insight from? Do they have your best interest at heart? Like, are they giving good counsel? And also, do you want what they have created?
That's right. And do they enjoy? Like I gave my brothers that example on paper, and some of the things that you've shared look great. People are very impressed. He was miserable, and
I could have had PhDs. I've literally, even now, like I have friends that have PhDs, lots of PhD friends, and if she watches this after the fact, hey girl. And so one of the friends had me speak. I was a keynote speaker at one of her conferences before the pandemic, and I think I was one of the few people that didn't have a PhD. That was and I was like a keynote. And one night we all went out to like the bar in the hotel, and we're all sitting there talking. And all of these people are like the first Black woman to do this in this school, and the first Black man to be this, and I'm just chopping it up with them, and we're just having a good time. And my friend, who is also a PhD, a professor, like she's in that world. She turns to me and she goes, "See, I keep telling you that you should go back to school because you see, you just in here, you just fit right in." And I was like, "Girl, leave me alone. Okay, I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna say my little story or whatever behind this keynote, and I'm gonna get out of here." Like she literally was like, "You fit with us," and I was like, "I know I do, and I could have had 3 of these. I just don't want it."
I was talking to a friend of mine, Dr. Moya Bailey, who coined the word misogynoir, right? Mm-hmm. Misogyny against Black women.
Yeah.
We were in a WhatsApp conversation literally this morning because there's a documentary about Magic City, the strip club in Atlanta, that comes out today, right? It's a 4-part series. She was interviewed for it because she protested Nelly's tip drill video when she was on campus with like 9 students. It's a longer story. Even in 2025, 20 years after this protest, this is the first time she got death threats, was 20 years ago, right? She has coined the term misogynoir that's now used everywhere to describe misogyny against Black women. She is still, as a heretic, right? As an iconoclast, as someone who is chopping down the woods, is still dealing with the backlash of being that person. And she looks great on paper. Right? So sometimes you are going to be the heretic. Sometimes you are going to do this. You're going to have the PhDs and the books and the words and the thing. And still and HBO or Showtime or Stars is going to come to you to be in a documentary. And you're still going to have to be how do I want to say it? You're still vulnerable in a sense, in a way that if you just toe the line, if you just do the things, if you don't poke your head up and say, I have an opinion and I'm going to stand up for myself and other Black women or whoever, that you just kind of go, no one bothers you. And that's that's not true, but like, right?
No, I totally understand what you're saying. And I was just like, that's why it's so hard to create a life with you in it and that's why I'm also really like astonished at how you showed up, Elle, because the social capital is to stay in the herd.
That's what I'm saying.
It's literally to stay in the herd. And
it's rewarded.
It is rewarded. But some people die behind it. You die out. Listen, I think that there are genuinely, I would assume, I'm not one of them, so it's hard for me to tell, but I would not be like I would not have as much so much hubris to think that a person who doesn't enjoy the ladder to nowhere exists. You know what I mean? Like they want to check the boxes. This feels like a fulfilling life to them and they want it. I'm not going to say that they don't exist. I mean, of course they have to exist. I guess everyone exists. And 2025 is such a unique experience because we've never been here before as Black women. This is such a unique time where we aren't going to be able to do what, our descendants get to do in the future, hopefully, although people are trying to drag it back and make it great again. Girl, anyway. But what a time to be alive. You know what I mean? Like we can chart a course forward and do it. And there are some people like the lady you just mentioned, like you, like in big and small ways, who are willing to get out front. And there are always going to be, listen, for there to be crabs in a barrel, they got to be crabs. Somebody got to be clapping at your ankle while you trying to get free. It just is what it is. I choose to be the crab climbing out the effing barrel. In my mind, I'm like, I can't be down here trying to police everybody so that my struggle has a meaning behind it. Because a lot of times when people are policing you because you won't participate in the agreed upon social struggle, it's because they need their struggle to have meant something. You see what I'm saying? Like I gave up what I gave up at the top of the hierarchy, and I need you to give it up too because I need this system to mean something. No, no, no. You know what I mean? I in my mind, there's a choice in that point. I can self betray and then like go around. I think I made a video recently about are you an overseer? Go around being an overseer. Like, is Elle doing what Black women are supposed to do? Let me tell her in her comment section. I choose not to. I choose to be the person being told I'm rogue. And that's a shift. That was not me. I don't know if I don't know that I ever like went in people's comment section and was dragging them down, but I definitely was sitting there like it was almost like there was like an internal rogue and my brain was like, I'm moving my arms and legs and doing all the socially acceptable things. Why does that person get to be out here running free? They just running free. I never felt the need to go tell them, why are you running free? But like my brain was like, they don't get to do that. They don't get to do that, which was still energetically wild work. You know what I mean? Whereas now I'm like, I done threw off the saddle and the thing and I'm trying to run free too. I'm like, how far can we go? Like, wait for me. I think there's a choice. And so unfortunately, your friend is getting all of this backlash and understandably so. That is part of being brave enough to live a life with you in it.
That is.
We're not going to get told Marissa said here, the permission to be free is never going to be given to you. You have to give it to yourself. You just have to know it. Like 100%. This is your life, you guys. Nobody's going to tell you that on the reg. A Black woman's going to get you're a spoiled brat. You should be grateful for what you have. Girl, that's a good government job. When you gonna get married? Why don't you have another baby? This is a great community. What do you mean your neighbors are racist? Just overlook like you're gonna get so much messaging to keep breaking off pieces of yourself and stay put. I'm here to say F that. Like, no, I'm here to say, help me, Elle. Say something more poised. That's what went through.
I will say this. For me, like I love wigs, right? Like I love colorful wigs. I have brown wigs, black wigs, purple wigs, pink wigs, curly wigs, straight wigs, blonde wigs. And one time I was wearing a blonde wig in a video. I have lots of videos with my blonde wig. And a Black woman commented, to your point of like policing, right? Overseeing, commented under my video, like love yourself, wear your red natural hair. And this goes back to my point. Real freedom is doing whatever I want to do.
Girl, whatever I want. Some of the hair on my head right now, I got out of a package and some of it is mine. And y'all can't tell the difference.
This is what I'm saying. Like that's
like literally some of these twists you're looking at are my twists, my actual hair, and some came right out of a bag. Okay. All is well with the world.
It's all is well because I get to do what I want to do. Like I'm not trying to be respectable because there's still the natural hair police respectability, right? Like somebody gonna see trying to do something because it's ultimately about trying to outsource your power. I
called it an overseer. I was like, are you an overseer? Are you policing other people trying to maintain masses' wishes instead of trying to free yourself?
That's what I'm saying. Like because at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm grown. I haven't had a perm since I was like 7. I've done all kinds of things with my hair, which because I wanted to. I don't owe nobody nothing. I don't owe nobody natural. I don't owe nobody. But it's this idea that we are respectability got us in a chokehold, and we got to get free. We got to get free.
My last question for you before we end is, Elle, what do you want?
Lots of money. What's that? Y'all remember that song from the 90s? I want money. Mm-hmm. Lots and lots of money. I want the pie in the sky.
Oh, yeah. I want money. Lots and lots of money. Wait, exactly. Hey, I want money. Yes. I want to mirror it.
Exactly. I'm trying to remember the name of the group. It starts with a C.
I never remember the names of groups. I have lyrics. That's my superpower. Lyrics, but I don't be remembering who's the song.
Yes. So in capitalism, money just makes everything easier. So we're not going to skip over that. That's real. Everything else I have.
That's nice. No, I'm just saying. That is such a wonderful blessing to be able to say that. You know what I mean? Because I know that there are women right now sitting there thinking, I don't have, and what I hear, I listen to you and I'm thinking, oh, she means like space to rest and space to create and space to have ease and space to stop and space. She just, space. She has it. She's already created it. And I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah, because to me that's the inner work, right? Like I'm content, I'm joyful, I love my life. I want more financial resources because we're in capitalism. I need capital to be able to do the other things I want to do. But I'm deeply, deeply happy. I'm deeply satisfied. And when I'm not, I know how to get back to it. That's which is I'm grateful for. It hasn't always been this way. It's not this way every single day. But when then I know I allow myself to be there, and then I know how to get back. So
yeah,
I'm grateful.
Same thing. I have one of the things I want is financial too, of course, for all the reasons that you just said. I am actively creating a restful, easeful, joyous, peaceful life that I love and that loves me back. And some of that looks like recalibrating some things in my life. It is a journey. It's been happening over time. You are correct. One of the reasons why major depressive disorder Roshini is not rolled up in the depression burrito, waking up every morning thinking, oh God, not this again, is because I started doing this 6-7 years ago. I just started being like, F it. Okay, I'm going to. And so it is like kind of like turning a cruise ship. I've been. And I don't think my answer of what do you want? And you say I have it already. I don't have it yet, but I am so much more aligned than any previous version of me. And it has taken so much embodying of Roshini, learning to sit with myself and listen, and then actively creating this thing that has gotten me out of full nihilism to oh, I do get to do something different. And I love it. So that's why when you said that, I thought, oh, that's really nice because I think I'm on my way to that. I don't think I'm there yet, but you were rogue. So you had a head start. You could have came and got me. You know what I'm saying? Saran, hi, Saran. Saran's favorite color is purple. And that is why she is telling you. Saran, all of her brand elements are purple. And that is why. Saran, you got to go ahead and get a purple wig.
Truly, anyway, they're fun.
So that's what that gives me so much joy for you because I love a Black woman from infinity to infinity. I love it for you. I knew I was going to like you when I saw you on Stephanie's page. You have not disappointed yet. You are a joy. Elle, tell people about where they can find you and also anything that you're working on or you'd like them to know. And I'll drop some links for people.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. I'm so glad we are here and connected and having beautiful conversations even before this. So you can find me at House of Ease right here, HAUS of ease.com. And I also have a burnout recovery toolkit. So if you go to houseofease.com, it'll pop up and you can get the free burnout recovery toolkit. I also offer one-on-one calls called the Alignment Hour, where we get you back in alignment with you and living the life from your own truth and your own soul. And I thought I was going to be I have a online retreat called School of the Well Rested, which I thought I was going to be launching for autumn equinox. But since I'm preparing to move to Thailand and packing and purging and preparing are taking priority, I might not launch that until winter solstice.
Yeah.
But get into my world and then you'll be updated on all the things. And come join me on YouTube, which is where I like to be often.
So I just dropped all of those links to everything Elle said in the comments. Elle, the fact that you keep taking your glasses off and putting them back on is ending me.
So I can see.
It's ending me, because there's a little bit of in my mind, I'm not even gonna tell you what I'm thinking. Every time you do it, I'm just like,
what are you thinking?
Listen, I'm gonna be 50 next year, right? There are some changes to Roshini that it took a while for me to really accept. You know what I'm saying? And watching you do this to me is the changes that Elle has not accepted yet. Girl, if you don't leave them glasses on your face.
No, I mean, I like glasses when I need to read words. But
that's what I'm saying. But we're on the screen. So this is one of those read word times.
Well, no, I can pop in, I scan them, and then I'm like, okay, I got it.
But I can see it without the glasses. Okay, y'all, this is women in their 40s having a good conversation. I can see the screen without the glasses, but eventually my eyes get strained and I'll get like a headache. So I just put them on.
The words are all a blur, but it's like I'm not responding to comments. I'm not typing them out. So I'm like, I can see your face without glasses, and that is
it's important. I got it. It's still ending me though.
I will probably go back and read through the comments after the
every time you pick them up, you hit us with this.
Yeah. Because I also got to make sure they go in the right place on the wig so they don't lift it too much.
That makes sense. Yeah, we don't want. Okay, so I dropped links to everything in the comments. If you guys are interested in working with me, Roshini, hi. There's lots of ways. You can go to thepineapplecrowns.com. Link should be in the information box. However, I put the planning retreat link on the screen this time because even though it's super early, my virtual planning retreat is kind of amazing. And so I want everybody to know that it's open for you to jump in, even though it doesn't happen until December. Oh, it cut off the link. Let me go ahead and just drop the link by itself. If you go to bit.ly/virtual planning retreat and read the reviews, okay? We are doing, it starts December 12th this year. I'm raising the price the first of every month, the first of the month. So if you want to get it at the cheapest that it is going to be, it's still doing it. It's in the Facebook just rejected my comment. Go in the information box. It should be there already. bit.ly/virtual planning retreat, as well as the link on the screen. We do a week of self-paced modules. I do 4 Zoom calls with the ladies. And then my favorite part is we do 10 accountability calls January through October. And the group accountability calls just keep getting gooder and gooder. I mean, we are just having a good time. Okay. Half the women who are in the current planning retreat accountability call stuff have already re-signed back up because they like to save money. So if you want to save money too, come get in where you fit in. It's a good time. Okay. And also, if you are on those calls, our group membership call and the planning retreat accountability call are both this Sunday, August 17th. I did it. We did it. Elle, how do you feel about that? How'd it go?
I feel fantastic. Thank you for having me. It's been a delight. You are a treasure. It has been so good to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you knew who I was and that I knew who you were and that we've met up. And I look forward to meeting up somewhere in person sometime.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for being here. As always, you have been a pleasure. I love talking to you. And you guys, be well, be encouraged. Keep healing. Here's a pineapple that my son gave me.
Can you tell us, because I don't know your relationship to pineapples. Before we sign off, can you tell us why you love them? What you love about them?
Okay, so I used to have duckies because many years ago, a friend told me what did she tell me? Let things roll off my back like a duck. That's what she told
Okay.
me, because I think I was getting, like, too worked up in my 20s. I started surrounding myself with duckies and little yellow things that make me happy. There are duckies all over the place too, but I don't have as many anymore, right? So I started realizing, yeah, here's one from my best friend. I started realizing that duckies made me happy. This is an old one from my best friend. And then it just kind of like morphed to Funshine Bear from the Care Bears because I am a child from the 70s. And so I have two, I had two. There's a Sherbert Care Bear down there. The other one is elsewhere. And I started having Care Bears. And then one day, the original pineapple is actually sitting here. This was my old phone case. So I used to sit on the videos, and when I used to do funny videos, you would see this all the time in the videos. And because I'm silly, I don't know when I started doing it, but I just started saying like, "Oh, here's a pineapple," like being silly, whatever. And it became like a catchphrase at the end of my videos. And
Mm.
when I would not say it, people would be mad at me. People would literally comment and be like, "Where is my pineapple?" And I was like, "You guys are weird." Anyway, that's why this is sitting here because this is like the original pineapple. I started collecting pineapple symbols because they just made me happy. Like literally no other reason besides they were just an emblem of joy and they made me happy. And it was in that space of like, you get to do whatever you want, Roshni. This thing just makes me giddy. And for no reason, like I don't know why, but it makes me happy. So I started doing that. As you can see, like this is a full body onesie. This is actually the hood of the onesie. This is a full body pineapple.
Adult-sized onesie?
Yeah. It actually
Wait,
showed
that
up the
is
day.
small, so I didn't know if it was a
It's
child's.
rolled up, so, like, I fold it in, and I'm 6'1", so it fits perfectly, like, I roll it up. I've worn it on multiple occasions. Don't ask. There
I
are
love it.
occasions for such a thing. There are occasions for such
I
in my
believe
life.
you.
In my life, yeah, there are occasions to be a full pineapple.
And then we
Um,
create them if there aren't.
yeah, so I basically started collecting them in the background of my life and, like, surrounding myself with this symbol because it just made me happy, and I just kind of decided it was a symbol of my joy, and then in 2017, I went to a YouTube event, and they saw that phone case, and we're talking and everything, and they had done, like, a review of my page, and they were like, "Oh my god, we love the fact that, like, you randomly end your video saying, 'Oh, and here's a pineapple.'" And they asked me this, and I told them this, and they were like, "You should totally lean into that." And I was like, "What do you mean?" They
YouTube
were
is
like,
saying this.
yeah, they were like, "All of the things that you say you keep off camera," they
Mm.
were like, show people that you're kind of, like, pineapple obsessed." And it was right in that moment of, like, me showing up more as myself, and it wasn't fake, it was, like, me being like, "Oh, okay." So, literally literally, when I reached like this, my son gave me this for Mother's Day. Like they're everywhere to the point that like it's a little excessive at times. Um, and some people send them to me. Sometimes I have to give them away, but it's literally me honoring the fact that something makes me smile and I get to have it. It was just I look back on it now and I'm just like it has to be like an inner child thing where my brain was like, because there's no connection for pineapples growing up, but the
Mhm.
symbol just made me happy.
Do you
And
like
now
to
it
eat
just
them?
does. What was the question?
Do you like to eat them? Like, do you
I did, but now I have to eat keto, so they have too much sugar. Isn't that sad?
It is.
Yeah.
But
My
you have
dad
them everywhere else.
I have them everywhere else, and when I went home, uh, when my father passed away in April of 2020, and I went home for the first time in 2022, the my dad, who was the family green thumb, he had started a pineapple plant, um, in the yard that had not borne anything yet, and my mom and I went in the back to look at, like, the avocados and the passion fruit and all that, and she was, like, pointing at the pineapple plant saying, "Your dad was so excited this thing was gonna come up one day, but we've never seen it. Oh my god, wait a minute," and there was a pineapple on it. There was a little yeah. I have a picture, and I sat on the ground and just stared at it and was like, "Thanks, daddy. Oh, well, here's a pineapple." I know, isn't that nice? I have that picture. So, yeah, it became me owning my quirkiness and my weirdness and my joy, and it brought other people joy, and it is what it is. And, like, people give me stuff all the time. I have pineapple everything at this point. I have more pineapple than a girl would ever need, okay? I have to give away stuff because 'cause I'd be like, "Okay, y'all really want me to be like the weird woman on the TV
Pineapple
show,
lady.
and I actually wanna be," you know what I mean? Like, your girl wanna wear pearls. I don't wanna wear you don't have to send me 5 pineapple necklaces. Anyway, you guys, Elle and I will continue this conversation off. Be well, be encouraged, you guys.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hang out, y'all. Okay. Anyway.